What is a freak off? The freak off essentially was something that Cassie said she learned about through Sean Combs about a year into their relationship. He described it as voyeurism.
She said she would buy outfits from sex shops and see which one he wanted her to wear. And then inside the actual hotel rooms of their apartments where the freak offs took place, she said that Combs was in charge of lighting. It began with candles. It then moved to studio lighting.
They might say she's lying, but that's going to be a little hard to do with that video.
You step to the side. Step to the side, please.
You look cold. You smile. Are you guys feeling? How do you feel today?
Step to the side, please.
Watch out, watch out. Watch your butt.
Big great. How can you bump it today? Congratulations at NYU check. Give us a little space. Give us a little space. Give us a little space. Golden Nation.
Nice long you smile. Nice. That's
Step to the side, please.
feel like we like great being by his great
Taking the stand, but it was more than that. It was how Cassie took that stand. You could hear a pin drop when those doors opened, and a visibly pregnant Cassie Ventura walking past a man she had not seen in 6.5 years. A man she says violently abused her for a decade. A man the prosecution said trafficked her. Well, she sat across from him, placed her overcoat behind her, turning her body slightly toward the jury, rubbing her pregnant belly throughout her testimony. Diddy, well, he was more fidgety than he was the day before. He was passing notes. He pushed himself away from the defense table and largely sat like that. They never seemed to make eye contact with one another, not even after she was crying about having loved him once and planning and participating in these freak-off sex parties because she feared him and she wanted to make him happy, but feeling worthless, feeling disgusting because she didn't want to do it. Now, with each moment, the testimony became more and more graphic. Her delivery, though, it never changed. It was matter of fact, steady, calm. At times, she was even critical of herself, walking us all through how a 10-album record deal came over a 10-year period of abuse and sexual humiliation. And once you hear Cassie's testimony, you'll understand why the courtroom was so tense.
Day 2 of Diddy's explosive trial just wrapped. And while it didn't deliver a decisive blow, what happened by the end of the day has people reeling. And it might just shift the entire trajectory of the case. The prosecution came in strong, with a clear strategy, emotional testimony, and pointed questions. The courtroom was thick with tension. Journalists, legal analysts, and onlookers were locked in, hanging on every word, every gesture. But as dramatic as the day was, the moment that might change everything came not with shouting or fireworks, but in a calm, chilling statement from Diddy's ex, Cassie. Cassie, who's been a central figure in this case from the start, finally took the stand. Her testimony was powerful, controlled, detailed, and emotional without being theatrical. She spoke about the control Diddy allegedly exerted over her during their relationship. But what had everyone leaning forward was her description of what she called the freak-off videos. According to her, Diddy recorded intimate and graphic footage of her with other individuals. These weren't consensual performances or private moments of shared trust. She said they were humiliating, degrading, and used not for pleasure, but for control. Cassie testified that Diddy would remind her of these videos as a way to keep her quiet and compliant. The message was never spelled out directly, but it hung in the air loud and clear. Do what I say or I'll ruin you. And that's exactly what prosecutors are trying to prove, that Diddy used coercion and manipulation, not just charm or fame, to get what he wanted. In legal terms, coercion doesn't always look like a threat shouted in someone's face. It can be psychological, subtle, layered. Prosecutors are working hard to paint that picture. But here's the legal snag. Cassie never testified that Diddy said word for word, do this or I'll release the tape. And that matters in a courtroom. Without a direct threat or physical force, jurors are left connecting the dots themselves. And in a high-profile case like this, with such severe accusations, ambiguity can be deadly to a case. Still, what Cassie did lay out was chilling. She talked about fear, about emotional manipulation, about the way Diddy made her feel like she didn't have a choice. That's powerful. She recalled trying to bring up her discomfort about the freak-offs carefully, gently, because she didn't want to upset him. That wasn't casual fear. That was calculated self-preservation. According to Cassie, these events were more than uncomfortable. She was degraded, humiliated, and made to feel like her voice didn't matter. And while her words stopped short of stating clear-cut threats, her tone, her detail, and her expression told another story entirely. Then came the most disturbing detail of the day. Cassie alleged that during some of these freak-offs, Diddy, or individuals acting under his direction, urinated on her. When asked if she consented to that, her answer was immediate. No, it was disgusting. I choked. I didn't want anyone to do that. She didn't need to explain the trauma. It was visible. She said she didn't resist out loud because in her mind, it was obvious she didn't want it. She was frozen, horrified. But again, in the eyes of the law, clarity matters. Did she say no? Did she resist? Did he know she didn't want it and proceed anyway? And here's where the defense may strike hardest. Diddy's lawyers are preparing to argue that there was no force, no clear no. No line crossed according to legal standards. They're expected to say that if Cassie didn't explicitly resist or speak up, Diddy couldn't have known she objected. But that argument ignores what we now understand about trauma, power dynamics, and silence. Not all resistance is loud, not all coercion is verbal. Then the topic turned to violence. Cassie didn't hold back. She described terrifying incidents of physical abuse. She said she once had to hide out in a hotel for over a week because her bruises were too visible to be seen in public. And we've all seen the security footage, the one where Diddy physically attacks her. That's not speculation. It's not a rumor. It's real and it's brutal. Even Diddy's own team hasn't denied that part. Now, they admit it happened, but they're trying to downplay it. They're saying the relationship was messy, but mutual, that the violence went both ways, that Cassie also had outbursts, particularly when under the influence. But here's the key point the prosecution is banking on. This trial isn't just about domestic violence, it's about trafficking, manipulation, and psychological control. Diddy's defense wants to narrow the scope and focus on the he said, she said of a toxic relationship. But prosecutors are zooming out, showing a pattern of behavior, a cycle of fear, dominance, and silence that goes far beyond a bad breakup. The jury now has a lot to consider. They're not just judging a celebrity on tabloid headlines. They're being asked to make a decision about whether the most powerful man in hip-hop used that power to exploit, silence, and manipulate women who trusted him. And while today didn't deliver a knockout punch, it planted seeds, deep, disturbing seeds, about who Diddy really is when no one's watching. And with more witnesses lined up, more testimonies coming, and the prosecution clearly playing the long game, this trial is only just beginning to heat up. Day 2 of Diddy's high-stakes trial might not have ended with a dramatic twist in the courtroom, but make no mistake, things took a major turn that could reshape the entire case moving forward. As the session wrapped up, the prosecution dropped a bombshell. They want to introduce one of the alleged freak-off videos into evidence and show it to the jury. This development immediately stirred a flurry of debate, with the defense team springing into action to try and block it from becoming public. Their argument? That this footage, if seen by anyone outside the courtroom, especially the media, could unfairly sway public opinion and jeopardize Diddy's right to a fair trial. At the heart of this issue is a key question. Will the judge allow the footage to be played at all? And if so, under what conditions? There are several possibilities. The judge could order a closed courtroom, allowing only the jury and legal teams to view the tape, keeping the media and public locked out. Another option would be to present the footage to the jury privately, possibly during deliberations or in a controlled setting without spectators. No decision has been made yet, and court insiders are divided on how the judge might rule. But one thing is clear, if the footage is shown, it could be a game changer. The contents of the video remain unknown to the public. No one outside the prosecution and defense teams has confirmed what's actually depicted, whether it includes any form of force, coercion, or incriminating behavior. That uncertainty is part of the legal chess game playing out behind the scenes. From the prosecution's standpoint, even if the footage doesn't show physical violence, its very existence and tone might establish a pattern of humiliation and control. Key points in their argument that Diddy used emotional, psychological, and reputational leverage to manipulate Cassie. But there's another layer of complexity. Right now, jurors see Cassie as she is today, calm, composed, and visibly pregnant. She's presenting herself with dignity, recounting painful memories with restraint. If the jury were to view old footage of her participating in what's described as graphic, degrading situations, it could radically alter their perception of her. On one hand, it might support her claim that she was coerced, showing visible discomfort or resistance. On the other hand, if the video portrays her as compliant, or worse, appearing willing, it could undercut her credibility. Jurors bring their own biases into the courtroom, and the emotional impact of such a video can't be underestimated. Legal experts are saying this could either bolster the prosecution's case or backfire spectacularly. It all depends on what the footage reveals and how the jury interprets it. But if that video gets played, if the jury sees for themselves the dynamics of power, fear, and submission Cassie described, this case could take a sharp turn. As of now, everything hinges on how that evidence is handled and how jurors interpret what's unfolding in front of them. We're still early in this trial, and already it's clear that the outcome will depend not only on what was done behind closed doors, but also on how well the legal teams can connect the dots, build their arguments, and win over a jury that's being asked to untangle one of the most complicated and high-profile cases in recent memory. And this is just the beginning, and it's only getting more intense from here.